Yo, what's up? It's working. Good afternoon. It's been a while since the last stream, and once again, the almighty scheduled streaming did not work. There's always something coming up, and I don't know how to make a schedule that I will remember to change. So I'm trying to stream a few days a week, but apparently all the time something comes up. So please follow me on the Twitter to find out when I'm going live. And today I was thinking about, should I play live or should we just study something, and I don't have a good feeling about playing. Probably going to skip playing poker today, so let's do the study stream. And in the last stream, where we had problems with poker juice and stuff, then I started a sim 5 max where middle position is a Maniac. And here's the sim. Let me put it slightly down. So here's the sim. And what we tried, oh, this is wrong, this is the normal sim. So here's the aggressive. And we were trying to approach 40 or 50% opening range. And then when we node locked it to go for 50% opening frequency, it didn't. So I increased it a little, it didn't go up, so then I increased it a lot. I think I put it to 70 or 100 and let the sim run. And then in the halfway, it wasn't still going over 30 or something or 40. So then I forced it to 70 and then I let it run, and it ran for a few days. And apparently at the end of the sim, or when the sim has run long enough, it starts to approach the number, and now actually the middle position here has 69.3% opening range. So we got a huge Maniac out of that. So at least it's very different than what the normal 30% or 20 or what should be. We can see we have here the normal sim for 5 max where no one folds pre-flop to 3 bets, which was one criteria, because the Maniac definitely doesn't fold to 3 bets. The normal opening size for middle position is 22.2, and now we have opening who open 69.3. And we're going to see how the other positions react to that. You need memory. The processor, of course, the better your processor is, the faster it is, but the main criteria is memory. And this 5 max sim, this actually there's only it's the viewing version. 5 max sim where no one folds to 3 bets, 72.5 gigabytes, so you need around 80 gigabytes of RAM to run 5 max. For 6 max, it would be even more. So to run a 6 max preflop sim, you need 250. That's what I have. So the memory is the key. So if you want to use Monker, you need memory, or you need to rent a server, which costs a lot of money. And that's why all the software information, you have to pay for it. No one gives it for free, except little PCs like me. So Babu asked that how the Rush pool looks a GT network. No idea, I don't play Russian cash that much. I only play it for, like, if I have 15 minutes and I just want to grind a few hands, I might play it, but I don't play it that much. There's a lot of regulars fighting for leaderboard, so it's very rec heavy, as any games with leaderboards. And then the point system favors short stackers. So there's a lot of short stackers. So if you don't mind playing with regulars and playing with short stacks, then go there, but I think you need to fight for the leaderboard. And the feature in Russian cash are the cash drops, which are almost the same as Plastibot and Run It Once, but very different. The difference is, feel free to ask random questions. The difference between GG extra money and Run It Once extra money is that on Run It Once, the extra money is not counted towards the pot pre-flop. So even if there's 10 big blind splash on run it once, you can only open 3.5 big blinds. But on the GG, if you have 10 big blind cash drop, then you can open for, I don't know how much it is, 13.5. So you can make big pre-flop raises, and it's a huge difference. But my advice is, if you play on GG or you play run it once, then probably you should think, how do you play those dropped pots, because you can increase your EV a lot if you know how to play on those. The reason why is because in the beginning they had it the same way, that it's part of the pot, but in PLO, like if you have 20 big blind splash pot, then people would just shove pre-flop. And it was not fun, especially if you're like 200 big blinds deep. You sort of have to gamble, because it's plus EV, but the variance was too high. So they changed it to the request that it's not part of the pot pre-flop in PLO. So you can still play more pre-flop. There's more strategy involved, which is great thing. And then on right ones, if the splash pot is 100 big blinds or more, then everyone is forced all in. Or it's just a flip. You don't put the chips all in. So it's for free. 70% winner and 30% for the rest of the table. So on the big splashes, everyone wins without any variance, which is awesome. Because it kind of sucks that previously, if you had 100 big blind splash and you were 200 big blinds deep, then you have to shove 200, even if you have a crappy hand, and the variance is too much. It ruins the idea of it being fun thing. One number of percent I think run it once PLO 10 pool is Rex. I don't know, because when I play it, I look at the stats, it's like, god damn it, half of these players cannot be regulars, but I don't know. Percentage of entrants or percentage of players, that's the different thing. But out of the entrants, I would say have some sort of reps. I mean, people who have some kind of idea about PLO, and then there are recreationals or reps who are just having fun. And Honey, something, thanks for following. But it's not in GG. If you look at the Russian cash entrants, if there's 100 entrants, then probably 90 of those are some sort of multi-tabling reps. But PLO then reps, then on the other hand, running ones, they have a lot of leads in their game. But it's a good rule of thumb on any small stakes table, PLO 50 and lower, no matter what the stakes. If you don't have any high VPIP player on the table, then the table is not profitable, as a rule of thumb. Because the rate is so high, you can't generate enough edge versus VPIP 25 guys. So you need players with VPIP 40 or more. At least one of those on your table. If you don't have it, then consider changing. But about the sim. Oh, feel free to ask questions. If it's too much, I'll just stop answering. No problem. Oh, and there's a Christmas message on the chat. We have a special Christmas giveaway stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central European Time. And we have a lot to give. We have 50 euros as Sit&Co tickets from Run It Once, so free money. Then we have free Run It Once Essential membership for month, worth 25 euros. That's from OMFG. Then we have a free 2-week trial plus half a price month after that for Poker Juice. So free, pretty much free month for Poker Juice. And then we have the Christmas Moose. And then all the players who joined the home games PLO 4 Run It Once entered the draw, where 1 or 2 winners will get half of my profits when I play Run It Once Sit&Co's for 50 euros. So I'm going to play $1, $2, and €1, €2, and €5 Sit&Co's, total worth of 50 euros. And whatever the profit is, the winners get half. And I mean, on 5 euro cubed, the main prize is 7,500. So if we get super lucky and I win 7,500, it means that the winners get over 3,500. So there's a chance someone might bean up pretty nice Christmas bonus. Well, probably, let's say, I'm not a hold'em player, but I'm not horrible in it. So probably, if I play sit and close for 50 euros, the EV is probably at least 40 euros. So that means 20 euros is probably the EV of that price. So there's a lot of money to be won. And the sad thing is that most of those are actually only available to run it once players, so the Germans who can play the concept. So we might switch it that actually the money from the sit and close that I play is open for all, and then the sit and close tickets go to those who play on the home games. Because that means they already have the Run It Once account. We won't have that situation that someone wins a ticket that doesn't have a Run It Once account. So yeah, we probably do it that way. So anyone can win money, and those who join the home game, then they will get they will be raffled for 50 euro worth of tickets. What percent is average fish buffet? I don't think there's average. You can see the numbers on the fish buffet page. The more you rate, the more your EV is. And then the wheel is weighted. You can see the probabilities of getting, but the wheel is fair. It looks like all the 6 options or 5 options have the same probability as they are as big as each other, but it isn't. You can see the probabilities there. But you can see the EV percentage. The only problem in Fish Buffet is the player value index. That means that normally you get 100 points for rating $1. And the Fish Buffet is calculated based on that, but then your PVI means that for $1 of rate, you don't get 100 points. You might get 70 or only 50 points, which cuts the actual rate back. But on to the sim. Let's say that normally 5 max, the middle position opens for bot, then the cutoff calls 9.5 and bot's 4.7, so pretty much almost 10 and 5. If we know that the middle position opens 70%, you can see that the cutoff response is now call 7.6 and 3-bet 10%. So the overall defending range is 18. Here, the overall defending range is 14.5. Slightly less. So the cutoff doesn't go bananas. Would you consider making a Discord channel where we could post hands for review on stream? We have that. We have the channel on PLO order. And yeah, that's for videos, but we could do it also on the streams. It doesn't matter. Feel free to post. But yeah, we have the PLO order. And then we have actually on the Cubery.com, there's an offer that if you want your hands and session to be reviewed on the live stream, then you can get it for, was it $10 or $15? So it's like a coaching where you send the hands and I look them beforehand and select all or some from the session and so on. So it's a bit more in-depth. So what we can, back to the sim, the kind of the overall frequency goes like from 14.2 to 18. So it's, you could say it's not much, but it's actually almost 30% increasement on the range. But it doesn't go really crazy. Like versus 70% opening range, which is pretty much all the hands except the super crappy ones, then the thing is, it still defends only 18% of hands. But I assume that the button is the problem there. But you can see clear shift from 3-betting 5% to 3-betting 10%. So it's pretty much the same, probably same 3-bet range that we have from the small blind versus button versus late and wide range. So it's like, if you have position to the aggressor, and the aggressor is open in super wide range, then think about this, that button is normally open in 40 to 50% range. And you already know how to react to wide opening range out of position from the blinds. Then probably in position, it doesn't change that much. It definitely changes, but it's not completely different. But let's say that the cutoff folds, then how does a button react? And here we have, in the normal sim, and remember now the simulation is that the opener doesn't fold to 3-bet. So it's not your average everyday simulation. It's for small stakes where people don't fold to 3-bets. So the button normally calls 16 and 3-bets at 5%. But when the aggressor opens the Maniac, it calls 15.5 and 3-bets 11.5. So once again, the 3-bet range is doubled slightly more. And then it calls slightly more hands. And I think if you want to simplify your life, then in 3-betting, it's good to understand that it's pretty much 5-10 game. We have 5% 3-betting range and 10%, and we 3-bet 5% versus tighter opening ranges, which are early position ranges, and then we 3-bet 10% versus wider opening ranges, which are the late positions. So versus UTG and middle position, we 3-bet around 5%, versus cutoff and button, we 3-bet around 10%. And yeah, it's a simplification, but it's very useful simplification to understand the difference in very clear and easy way. And now the aggressor is just wide opening range. Of course, now the problem in this simulation is that the aggressor is going to react to the 3-bet in a slower way. It doesn't 4-bet crappy hands, which Maniac blind. So when you face a Maniac like here who opens almost every hand, then it's also important to know, if I 3-bet, how does he react? Does he just 4-bet and get it in and gamble with almost anything? Or does he call, and how aggressive he is then post-flop? And all of those affect the decisions. Because if the guy would 4-bet everything, like if we would do the sim and then give him a 4-bet frequency of 100, then that would be actually quite fun to see how does he react to button 3-bet. Probably then our 3-betting range might get slightly wider. Because if we know that opponent shoves like 50% range, then we would get it in with probably 50% range. Or at least call with 50% range, because there's dead money and we have the same ranges. But if, back to the same button folds, then on the small blind, normally versus the middle position open, call 5, 3-bet 5. So quite tight when we don't have the fold equity. It 3-bets slightly less than in normal sim, because it doesn't have the fold equity pre-flop. And here versus Maniac, calls 5.7, 3-bets 10. So it's kind of 3-bets a lot more. And let's try to figure out in a bit what are the hands that it doesn't 3-bet normally, but versus aggressor it does. And now if they fold, then on the big blind it's normally calling 26 and 3-betting only 4% of hands. Once again, calling 44, 3-betting 10%, so super wide. The defending range goes from 30 to 55, which is kind of counterintuitive how we normally react to aggressive players. The normal way when someone is Maniac, the normal way to react is to play tight preflop range so we don't have tough post-flop situations versus Maniac. But for Solver, there are no tough spots because it knows perfectly everything. It can make perfect decision on every possible situation. So Solver doesn't have to worry about a nasty post-flop situation. It just knows exactly the EV versus the opponents because it knows how opponents play. But let's go back. Let's say the cutoff calls and now squeeze. How much button squeezes in position? And on normal simulation, when the middle position opens and cutoff calls, the button calls 9.2 and 3-bet 6.5. So overall range of around 16. And when we have the Maniac involved, once again, the 3-bet frequency goes up to slightly over 10. So pretty common way that if someone is opening wide, we start to 3-bet a bit wider. And I would assume the same pattern comes here. Normally on the small blind, call 4%, squeeze 5%, versus aggressive call 3.6, squeeze 9.5. So the takeaway is that Solver doesn't really start to call a lot more. The only exception is on the big blind. But other than that, it's not defending with super wide range. What happens is it widens the 3-bet a lot, and then the calling range is widened a little. Let's try to see the hands. Okay, here's a big difference. Oh, you didn't know, because I didn't know it until a couple of hours ago. That's why I tapped you, Shadow Maniac, on the Discord. But you didn't miss anything. Or you missed something. But not much. I can sum up the last 15 minutes. We have a Maniac who opens 70% on the middle position. And the way Solver fights is that basically it 3-bets, normally it 3-bets 5% from most positions, now it 3-bets 10%. And then the calling frequency doesn't change much. So that's the easy thing. But now, on normal sim, the button 3-bets the Maniac, the opener from middle position 4.8, and versus the Maniac it 3-bets 11.5. And now we can start to explore what kind of hands it does. And now this is the thing where the Chain Andes PLO tool would be helpful, because you could use the buckets. You could use the buckets. Now we really can't. So we can filter rundowns, suited ace, high hand, suited pocket pairs, and so. Yeah, I can copy the range into the trainer, but I don't have access to the trainer. That's the thing. If I had the trainer, I could just put the ranges there, and it would be an easy way to explore the ranges. But I don't have it, so I have to do it manually. And we have categories, but the categories are more like for the post-flop. So these pre-flop, these categories don't really help us much. But the question is, versus Maniac. Let's start with pocket aces. Versus normal open, we 3-bet most of our aces. We fold the rainbow trip aces. And then we call, you can see that there's a lot of rainbow aces in the calling range and suited trip aces. And that's pretty much it. Ace 7 deuce, okay, suited to the bottom cards is sometimes called, but as a rule of thumb, you 3-bet all the suited aces, and then you call with rainbow aces and suited trip aces and fold rainbow trip aces. Versus Maniac, it's almost the same. It's just you start to call with those rainbow aces and then some trip rainbow aces. You fold quad aces. That's the only aces you fold. Ha! Not sure if I would fold quad aces versus 70% opener. I might just 3-bet and get it in. But yeah, pot-in aces 94% of time, so no slow playing. What about ace king? Normal simulation, we 3-bet almost 80% of ace king, so pretty much all. Rainbow ones is a call. And versus the Maniac, pretty much the same frequency. Doesn't change much. But then if we have just king without the ace, then Shadow Maniac had a point. Oh man, he's good. There's a difference. Normally, we 3-bet kings without an ace only 3% of times, which is connected double suited ones. But versus the Maniac, 29%. So pretty much all the connected ones, all the double suited ones, and then the disconnected suited ones we call, and only fold some crappy trips rainbows. So there is a huge difference. And often if you think that if we want to increase 3-betting range from 5 to 10%, the easiest way is to add good kings. And probably we will see some difference in the queens too and ace queen hands. And still, we make most of our money in 3-bet pots with hands that have built-in EV. Because it means we can stack off on a lot more flops than with rundowns, let's say. Because if we have ace queen and the flop is 8-5 deuce, and we make a c-bet, opener raises, we can quite often just stack off, and we have equity. But if we have a rundown like king queen jack 10 and the flop is 8-5 deuce, we just can't happily stack off, because we might be throwing really thin. All right, let's move on to the ace queen. Normal sim, 3-betting quite a lot. 28. And now you will see that there's a difference. Oh, ace king is still 77, sorry. I remembered very wrongly. Ace queen, normally 3-bet 1 out of 3 times, so as a rule of thumb, double suited ones or the Broadway ones. And versus Maniac, boom, 83. So pretty much always. So ace king, ace queen, easy 3-bets versus Maniacs. Then if we have the queens without an ace, normally only 0.7, so only the double suited connected ones, super connected. So only the premiums are 3-bet. Versus Maniac 22, so pretty much all the connected ones, all the double suited ones. There are some double suited where the side cards are really small or not connected. But queen 9-5 is a 3-bet, and then queen 9 deuce is not. But once again, probably like queen 9-5. Where is it? I lost it. Well, queen 10-5. The EV is 2.2 thousand mini blinds, and then queen 9-3 is 1.5 thousand, or queen 5-3 is 2.3 thousand. So the EV is even better than some of the 3-bets. So even if you 3-bet queen 5-3 double suited versus Maniac, it's still very profitable. It would be nice to see that if we force to 3-bet with this hand, what would be the value? I think it's very close. It's probably 2.1 or something. So definitely start to 3-bet good queens versus Maniac. Then when we go to ace 10, then ace jack, let's do that first. I think the same pattern continues. Normally we 3-bet 15% of those. So double suited ones, really good ones. But versus Maniac, 71%. So a lot more 3-betting with ace. The rate is 3.5% with 2.5 blind cap. So it's like small stakes with around 30% rate back. So that's the rate setting. Because I think that's very close what the reality is at most sides. Yeah, we 3-bet a lot of ace jacks. And then there are hands like ace king jack that probably would be just 3-bet, or ace jack 3 suited ace. I mean, the EV is quite high. I mean, ace 6 jack is a 3-bet, and then where was it? Ace 6 jack is a call 50% of time. So pretty much we 3-bet a lot of ace jacks, and in reality people probably 3-bet more than 71 if they try to follow the solver strategy. So and if we input only ace jack 3, then this is those funny balancing things, that ace jack 3 suited to ace is a call, but ace jack 3 suited to ace and 3 is a 3-bet, so it's for balancing purposes. Ace jack 3 suited to jack is 3-bet. This is not. So probably you could just 3-bet all suited ace jacks. Yeah, solver does this, and it has this weird. I don't know if it's weird. It has certain suited combos that it calls or 3-bets, and it's hard to find. It's hard to find the pattern, and solver uses those suits to make balance. And yeah, of course, when it's suited to ace and 3, there's a higher chance that opponent has a Broadway flush if flush is on the board. But when it's suited to ace and jack, it blocks some of. I don't know if that's the case, or if it's just it has to be like it has 6 combos where one is here fold, and then it has to be the double suited is easy 3-bet, so it has 4 combos. Went to call on 3-bet, and then let's say solver wants to bet half of those. So it puts 100 to tease and call to tease. I don't know if it could be that. How much it would favor 3-betting 50% each one of these and call 50% or what. Not sure. But then when we go to the jack without an ace, let's see what happens. Because now the hand strength starts to go down. Yeah, it's 5 for low stakes, but then when you get 30% back, isn't that 3.5? So in the end, you pay only 3.5%. or if you can't think it that way, then let me know, but that's how I figure it out. Because let's say in the end you pay $1 rate from the pot, but you get 30 cents back. At the end of the month, it means you only paid 70% or 70 cents of rate. So I think if you have a rate back deal, you could include that on your calculations. Otherwise, you pay a bit too tight. And then it changes on sites and states. Like Party has 5%, then some sites have 4.5%, some have 4.25%. And then on GG Poker, the rate is low on numbers, and the cap is low, like 3 big blinds. But then pre-flop 3-bet pots are rated. So if you 3-bet an opponent folds or you 4-bet opponent folds, you have to pay the rate, which then increases the rate. So it's hard to be precise, but of course we want to be as close as possible. So pocket jacks without an ace, you can see normally it's only 0.5% 3-bet. So you can see that these are very premium pocket jacks that we 3-bet. And it's only double paired. Only double paired jacks where the pair is connected with the jacks. So jacks and 8, jacks and 9, jacks 10, queens, jacks, king jacks. Versus Maniac, it goes up to 7.9%. So pretty much mostly connected double suited ones. And then jack, jack, 9, 9 single suited is there. And king, queen, jack, jack suited to king, queen, which is weird, but that's only 19% of 3-bet, so normally we would call. And then we have these more disconnected, like double suited jacks, where the side cards are not connected to each other and the jack. Then it would be just a call. But half of the jacks are called on solver strategy. And let's do ace 10 then, and then move to rundowns. How big of a change in range is? The change is not dramatic. I mean, then 65% rate back and leaderboard money probably goes to 80% or something. Then that's like PLO 500 rate or PLO 5000 rate if you have solver sims for those. And it opens slightly more, but the difference is not that huge that you should do dramatic changes. It goes from 18% to 19% on under the gun or something. And the only difference is that when the rate is really low, then the small blind strategy in solver changes. It starts to limp from the small blind. And that is super hard strategy. I mean, when I have done Vision Street, the small blind always gives me problems because I just cannot see the pattern when we limp, when we open. Because it wants to have balance on both ranges. So then there are hands that, like similar hand strength hands, one is open, one is limp. Can't see the pattern. So it's really hard to balance if you have two different sizings, especially on pre-flop. So I think that just play normal poker. It's just when the rate gets really high, then the solver starts to tie up a lot. And then it starts to favor 3-betting more, especially from the small blind. And when the rate is lower, it defends more. Who sent me message? Oh man, I need to change. I mean, I'm going to let you know, I had a message now from the postal service that they're going to deliver a package to my house. And what's in the package now there's in because what I did. Okay, now it goes to the postal office. So I wanted to surprise my family, and I ordered an electrical fireplace because we can't have normal fireplace. So I saw with a huge discount an electrical fireplace, and I have no idea where we're going to put it, but it looks nice, and I thought that, wow, that would be a surprise. It's like really big, 1 meter per side, and I thought that that's going to be a huge surprise. Electric, so there's no real fire. It's fake fire, and then it gives you the warm. You can set how warm it is. So it's electric. No idea where to put it, but I thought that that would be the surprise because my fiance and the kids would never see it coming. So I made an order, and then when I made the order, you could select that either they deliver it to your home because it weighs like 30 kilograms. Do they deliver it to home or to postal service, postal office? And I selected postal office because I didn't want them to see. And then yesterday when I got home, the fucking fireplace was there on our living room. And I was like, wow. And where did this come from? And they said that, yeah, there was a postal guy who said that you have this package and left it here. And now the whole surprise is ruined. And I was so pissed off yesterday, like, oh, god damn, there's nothing you can do about it. There's no point in complaining. But it was so, because the surprise would have been so good. I like to surprise people on Christmas, but that no one would ever see it coming. And it would be big, it's very big box, so then on the Christmas Eve, on the morning, there would be this big box wrapped up. And they would think for the whole Christmas Eve, what in the world is in that box? And they would never guess, and then they open it, so the surprise, and now it's ruined. So I have another package. Of course now, this one, my fiance knows what it is because she wished for it. But still, I don't want it to be delivered home. So now, at least now the postal service sent me a message that, hey, we're going to bring this parcel to you. Because the last time they didn't. They should always. But they didn't. They just came to the door with the 30 kilogram package and here it is. And someone was home, not me. And the thing is that the kid was sick. If she wasn't sick, she would be in school, and my fiance would be in school too, so there wouldn't be anyone home. But of course, on the exact day they decided to bring the parcel without notifying me, someone was home, and running bad in life. That's what it is. Yeah, and it's not. If I was a post guy, Patrick the postman, and I had a 30 kilogram package, and then I say that, okay, maybe I want to deliver this to their home, I would call, is anyone home? Weekday afternoon, normal people are not home, and he can't leave it to our door. So instead of just calling that is anyone home, he decided to drive over to our house and wish someone is home, which is just stupid. And now they changed. Okay, now the next parcel is going to be on the postal office. Damn. So where were we? Eisten then. No, not only limbs from small blind. We can see it on vision in a bit, how the small blind strategy plays. Oh, what some postal services or courier companies do is you order something and then they try to deliver it to your home. And if you're not at home, they should leave a message which says that we tried to bring this parcel, you weren't home, so please pick it up on our warehouse. But on a lot of occasions, they don't leave the message. They just get out. And no one lets you notify that they tried to deliver it. And then if you don't pick it up in 2 weeks, they send it back. So what you have to do is you have to follow the package and see when they are or when they had been on your door, and then you have to call them and then schedule that you pick it up from the warehouse. And if you don't know that, then you're just wondering, where's my package? And then one day there comes the message that we send it back because you didn't pick it up. So it's weird that they don't do that. 20 years ago, I was working in a company like FedEx. It was not FedEx, but similar. And every time when we got deliver or package to the, not the company, but private person, we always called. Because we deliver those to the daytime when people are working. So we call that, is anyone at home, or do we deliver this to different address, to your workplace? Because we didn't want to drive 30 kilometers for nothing. But now they don't do it. And they update the delivery time, but you have to follow it yourself. And if you don't know how to do that, then you're screwed. Back to Ace and then. Normally, 3-betting 23% of times, which is quite a lot. And this is something that I don't do. I don't 3-bet ace, jack, jack, ace, and then that often. And that's probably a huge improvement for my game, that start to 3-bet, especially the double-suited ones. But you can see that there are some single-suited connected ones too. And then the weird ace, 8, and then. That is 3-bet. Ace 9, then is not. Ace 7, then is not. But ace 8, then is half of the time. 4-betting range is probably pocket aces for the. We can see in a bit. But versus Maniac, we start to 3-bet pretty much all the suited ace and tens. Calling a couple of combinations, folding. There's some weird suited ace 10 then 5, ace 10 then 2, ace 10 then 4, but then ace 10 then 7 is a 3-bet. So we can easily see that the 3-bet range is widened heavily on ace queen queen, ace jack jack, ace 10 10. So if you want an easy implement, yeah, the pocket pairs is it's like, normally I get it, but like we are not blocking kings and queens, which are folding the 3-bets, but now we know that the opponent is not folding, so we don't have fold equity. But ace 10 then has a lot of value versus random hand. I mean, let's give 70%, whoop, whoop, and random ace and then. 57.43, random ace and then. And if we make it, does single suited work? Same. Double suited 60-40 was opponent's range. So the pocket pair of 10 still has a lot of value, because even if opponent flops 2 pairs less than a 10, then the pocket 10 has a lot of equity versus those. So the higher the pocket pair is, the higher it has equity. The better the equity is versus random hands, because even if the opponent hits his random hand when he has a lot of small cards, the overpair has significant equity. But when the pocket pairs goes lower, then that equity disappears. But like if we have then without an ace, I think now the frequency changes. Like normally we 3-bet pretty good on 10s, and it almost always has the better pair. But then versus aggressive opener 7.2, still not super wide. So there's What about jacks is only 7.92. So yeah, we're calling. Even with pocket tens, we're calling a lot. Even with just pocket tens, it's still 32% call. So 1/3 is called. Pretty much double suited connected ones, and versus Maniac 38. What about? Did we miss the calling range of queens without an ace? Normal versus normal open 55% versus Maniac 51. So, but with 3-bet seed loads more, so the overall defending frequency with queens is almost 75%. Normally it's 55. So yeah, to fold queens versus Maniac, it has to be a crappy one. But let's see what happens when we start to go down on the pairs. Like ace 9-9. That's a weird thing. Now it's 13.5% 3-bets. 22 normally. Yep. So 13%, not much. Versus Maniac 52. We go to more ace queen queen compared to ace 10, do we? Normally versus Maniac. But yeah, probably can't go more ace queen queens than ace 10 because ace queen queen is a stronger hand. That kind of makes sense. But I mean, versus Maniac opener, 3-betting 52%. That sounds Maniac-ish. That sounds aggressive. I mean, now you can see that it doesn't call with ace 9-9. It's pretty much pot or fold. But ace 8-9-9. Now serious question, ace 7-9-9. Serious question. How many of you, if you know that opponent is opening like 70% of hands, he's opening almost everything. He's like me on the home games. So tomorrow, when you face me on the home games, how many of you would think that, okay, that guy is totally crazy? I'm going to 3-bet ace 7-9-9 for value. If I see someone 3-bet on ace 9, well, that's ace 9-9-5. Someone 3-bets that versus Maniac, I would probably make a note that he went bananas too. So tilted versus Maniac. But that's value 3-bet. So that's weird. I don't know what to think about that. It's so against everything I think. And ace 8-8, 34% 3-bet versus Maniac. And it's even, well, I get that we 3-bet these double suited connected ones normally. I get that one. But, dude. What about, yeah, 9s without an ace is not a 3-bet, even versus Maniac. That becomes such a crappy hand. But, yeah, we can see the pattern. And, well, ace 7-7 is now versus Maniac only 12%. Well, yeah, they have to fold a lot on the flop out of position, but it's still, when you have ace 8-8, the hand is so weak. It sounds so weird. But now we can pretty much see where the 3-bet range widens. On pretty much all ace 8, ace XX pocket pairs, it 3-bets a lot more, especially jacks, 10s, 9s, 8s. What if we do, there's some rundowns. No, that's for... does anyone know PPT syntax for rundowns to make it? Can we make... Does this filter work? It does. Okay. So, forecast perfect rundowns from 7 high to 10 high. Not a huge difference. We can see that, yeah, double suited, 3-bet, lots of calls, some are fold. Versus Maniac, the funny thing is that versus normal open, these middle rundowns, we fold 20% of those, and versus Maniac we fold 25, so we actually fold more middle rundowns versus wide opening range. And I think the reason is that versus tighter range, most of the rundowns don't collude with opponent's range, which means that often opponent's range is top heavy. So when we have that 7 high rundown, the opponent's range is not dominating our range that often. But when the opponent's range becomes wider, then the certain parts of his range is dominating on rundowns way more often. And that's why I think it folds a bit more, which kind of makes sense. And these are not the hands we want to 3-bet more. So not the rundowns. What if we make it from king queen jack? Then let's make it from 10 9 8 7. Well, let's make it Broadway rundowns. So jack 10 9 8 to king queen jack 10. So Broadway high rundowns. Not a huge difference. So you can see that the numbers don't dramatically change. 14 versus 16, 79 versus 80. So pretty safe to say that with rundowns, with rundowns, we don't go bananas on Maniacs. And I think that's quite interesting because if we pick up an average player and we say that, okay, opponent is opening 70% of hands, and now you want to increase your 3-bet from 5% to 10%, and here's your 5% 3-bet range, how do you widen it? Then the natural way would be to widen the pocket pair part a little, and then widen the rundown so, like we start to 3-bet more hands like... we don't have any double suited, but we would start to 3-bet hands like king, jack, queen, then. Well, it is actually there, but there we have king, queen, jack, then suited to king, and then we'll start to 3-bet a lot of these suited king high rundowns, suited queen high rundowns. So what about ace high rundowns? And let's say, does the filter work? Ace 3 4 5 to ace 8 9 10. No. Does it work with ace with 5 4 3 to 10 9 8? No. This does it. Okay, now it works. So now the filter is ace 3, 4, 5 to ace 8, 9, 10. So ace with 3 card rundown from 10 high to 5 high. And there's definitely a big difference. Normally 12% 3-bet versus Maniac 31. So what's added here is suited ace high rundown. Pretty much of the rundown is 8, 9 or 10 high. But it still flowed like ace 6, 5, 4. Yeah. Yeah, normally it's the double suited ones, but you can see that even double suited ace 6, 5, 4 is not a 3-bet. And versus Maniac, where is double suited ace 6, 5, 4? I can't find it. Guys, double suited ace 6, 5, 4. There it is. Oh, it is a 3-bet. Never mind. Yeah. And normally it is not. So we can see that here in ace high rundowns there is an increasement too on the middling cards. 7 high, 8 high, 9 high, 10 high rundowns. And what if we make it king, queen, jack to jack, then 9? Wow. Wow. From 60 to 96. Can I set this to EV? Sure. Or were you meaning the previous one? But we can see that even normally we don't fold Broadway rundowns. The only one is rainbow ace jack then 9, so even rainbow ace king queen jack is a call. But normally we 3-bet a lot of ace high rundowns. Pretty much most of the suited ones are still 3-bet. And versus Maniac, it's just pretty much. You can call with the rainbow ones and just put any suited Broadway rundown. So Maniac, it's 96% 3-bet. So that's a simple 3-bet all aces, 3-bet all Broadway rundowns. So finally something easy to use, easy to implement. That's what it should be. Nice and easy strategies, don't make things complicated. But yeah. More racket one. Do you have an example? Ace king jack 6. So with the dangler. Ace king jack itself versus Maniac is 12, 33, 53. And normally 36, 41, 22. So still 3-betting more. No, that doesn't do it. It's sorted by EV. So precisely ace king jack 6. Double suited, sometimes 3-bet, There's one combination where we don't. Interesting. And then versus Maniac, all the double suited ones, 3-bet. So slight difference. Do you have the Excel sheets from the mastermind? Maybe you can copy and paste the range. I have no idea what you're talking about. That's bad English. I don't understand. Oh, do you have two Excel sheets? Do you have to Excel? That I have the Excel sheets? And what in Mastermind there's tons of Excel sheets. Oh, thank you, Juspe, for following. Mega party approaching. Yeah, what charts do you mean? Preflop charts? Some postflop charts? Yeah, for the preflop they have. And I've seen that the funny thing is that when Sober came, actually Chain Anders, he had this preflop chart which was updated every now and then when he made better and better simulations. So I had those old ones somewhere. And yeah, they had the category. The problem is that the marker filter is not fully the PPT filter. So some of the properties filters don't work in here. So, I mean, we could do like Ace King Jack deuce to Ace King Jack 9. And it doesn't work. So then we have to do it like Ace King Jack and then deuce to 9, which doesn't work. And then, well, let's try to put the comma there. So now it works. So now we can make a range of Ace King Jack, and then the side card, the fourth card is between 2 and 9. So yeah, we can make these filters, and to make the whole range, yes, you can do it. Not sure if we can benefit from that. And I don't know how on filter the marker supports here. Because the range in the chart is quite long. It's actually so long that proper tools can handle it. We tried with a friend of mine, what we tried to do is to make the Chain Anders preflop hand charts, the ranges, as macros to proper tools, which would give us the way to use those in Poker Tools, because Poker Tools supports custom macros for Poker Tools. But the problem is that Poker Tools couldn't handle because the ranges were too long. And then when we finally made the macros, we worked for several weeks to figure out how to do it. And then we got the macros to Poker Tools, then Poker Tools didn't support them. Or it supported some, like if we had 20 macros, all kind of similar in length, then Poker Tools recognized 10 out of 20. And no idea why it didn't recognize all of them. And then Poker Tools support said that, okay, they are not going to put emphasis on that because they're working on the Poker Tools cloud back then. So like now we can do the Ace King Jack with the dangler, and 9 is still connected, so let's make it 7, so it's very disconnected. So now we can see the difference between Ace King Jack and the dangler, and there's still a huge difference. Like normally 3-bet 7% versus Maniac 27. And then call is 52. So Ace King Jack is heavily played 80% of time, so the crappy ones are folded. And pretty much all the suited ones to Ace or King are mostly played. But you can see that there's some 3-bets with ace king jack just a suited ace, and normally it wouldn't 3-bet unless it's double suited. And then there's some mixed strategy with some of the hands. So I think if we do all kinds of racket hands, the thing is similar that let's say that we have ace 10 jack with the dangler, of course. Now we have to put 7 down to 6, so it's not too connected. Same pattern, normally 3-bet in double suited good ones with some mixed strategies, 10% only, versus Maniac 40%. So pretty much, if I had to write it down to simplify and make it more understandable, then it would be easy that we 3-bet way more ace with pocket pair 10 or higher or 9 or higher. We 3-bet all the Broadway rundowns, and we 3-bet a lot of 3-card Broadway rundowns that have a dangler, whether it's an ace high. And one thing that we haven't done is, let's make it king jack then. So we don't have the ace, and you can see what a huge difference it is. Normally we don't 3-bet king jack 10 hands, and all without the ace. Ace 9-9. At least I thought I said. I think ace 8-8 wasn't 3-bet that much, or was it? Can't even remember. It was. It was the ace 7-7 when he stopped 3-betting. King jack 10, no 3-bet, and even with Maniac, only double suited premium, or some of them, but most of the double suited are still calls. So the ace in the hand is very important. So ace high, 3-card Broadway hands, we still 3-bet all the double suited ones and suited ace ones. So after all, it actually, I'm quite happy because we could fit this strategy. Okay, how do we adjust 3-betting range when opponent is opening super wide? And now we get these 5 points, 5 ways to improve it. Double pairs. Oh man, does the syntax work? No. No. How do you syntax double paired hands? Does anyone remember? What if we do this? It doesn't work. No. RROO. No. Yes. And then if we exclude, or it already excludes the quads, right? Okay. Row. No. Whoa. All right. Double paired hands. Normally folding only 6%, calling majority, 3-bets. Pretty much the ones with ace and then double suited Broadways. Some of the connected double suited ones. Okay, without ace is 10%. Queen, queen, 8, call. All the other ones 3-bet. But yeah, the pattern is like most of the double suited ones are still 3-bet. And versus Maniac, it jumps to 33%. So pretty much most of the double suited ones, and then suited Broadway, like we saw with suited kings, it 3-bets a lot more. So of course those are all included in the double pairs. If we make it, we remove all the aces, kings, and queens, then it's 7 to 17, so it doesn't 3-bet that much more of the smaller pocket pairs actually. So quite many hands that have ace in it, we 3-bet a lot more. If you want to put it on one sentence. So if you have an ace in the hand, it's probably a 3-bet. I mean, let's see. Yeah. If we have ace in the hand, it's 30% 3-bet. Versus Maniac. But then there's the weird thing like ace, king, king, 8 is half of the time a call. Ace, king, 8, 14% time. So it has these really mixed frequencies a lot. Ace, king, 9 is a call. Yeah. Good morning, Pocket Boots. You just missed some weird time with the solver. And I don't know how eager I am, because it's still against my nature to start the 3-bet ace 9 versus Maniac. I mean, the fact that solver wants to squeeze ace 10 was a surprise to me. I would never do that, but maybe I should. That's the thing then. So, yeah, the 4-bet. So let's say when we bet, yeah, it's going to 4-bet 20% of his opening range, which is still actually 14% overall. Wow. That's quite wide 4-betting range. Because what? Is it only aces? But aces cannot be. Why is now to 8.4? Did I have a filter? Okay, now it makes more sense. Oh yeah, that's the filter, sorry. I was wondering why normally he wouldn't 4-bet aces, but yeah. Normally the middle position opener would 4-bet 13%, which is quite the aces. Is there anything else? Yeah, some double suited rundowns, but mostly aces. But his opening range is like 22%. So pocket aces is over 10% of that range. So normally 13%, it's not 13% out of all hands, it's 13% of his opening range. And his opening range is 22 or something, which means that pocket aces is over 10% of his opening range. So if he would 4-bet only pocket aces, this would be almost the same. So it's actually pretty much pocket aces. And here, 8.4% is like slightly more than 10% of his opening range. So then the pocket ace is only 1/4 of his 3-betting range. But I don't understand. When I exclude pocket aces, it gives 0 and 0. What? Why? Okay. why do I now have to put the, yeah. The sole explanation doesn't work. But if we open, for some reason, we open more for middle position, like you're playing whole games and you want to open 70% of hands, I totally get it. And then the button decides to use wide solver 3-bet ranges, then we should 4-bet quite a lot of our Broadway pairs and Broadway hands. These are all 3-bets if we open wide. Ace 7 9 6 becomes a 4-bet. That's a weird. Look at these two, or these hands here. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yep. Oh, there's no fold, because it doesn't fold to 3-bets. It's the simulation, because if we just put normal simulation and someone opens 70%, then he's going to fold a ton to 3-bets. And Maniacs don't fold to 3-bets. So it's the sim on both simulations. Openers don't fold to 3-bets. This is a weird thing. Oh yeah, they're half a blind. I was wondering that, okay, if he loses 3.5 blinds on average, why does it call? Because folding it would be minus 3.5. But I think, yeah, it is. Is this EV in mini blinds or full blinds? It has to be 1,000 of a big blind. Because you can see here that if the EV is minus 3.8 thousand, it becomes a fold. So 3.5 thousand is the open size. Why does it call when the EV of a call is worse than EV of a fold? Can anyone explain to me? Why? Why does it call when the EV of a fold is better? And I mean, it calls with hands that have, these are all calls here. It calls up to minus 8.9 thousand. So why would it, I mean, this is the 4-betting range. Why would it 4-bet when the EV is so much worse than folding? Everything is minus 3.5 thousand. Yeah, this is the Maniac mode for the Maniac. But the thing is that if this player folds, then the EV of a hand is minus 3.5 thousand. And even if it was 1,000 of half of blinds, the EV of a fold would be 7,000. Why does it shove hands where the EV of a shove is minus 8.9 thousand? I have no idea. Can anyone explain why solver makes minus EV plays on purpose? And I have no idea how complicated it is. Like if he would fold those hands, would then the EV of 3-bet go higher? Yeah, it might be convergence issues, but there's quite a lot of them. I mean, it's not just 1 or 2 hands, but the amount of hands that are way beyond 3.5 thousand. But also it doesn't make sense because, oh, these are calling hands. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, now I get it. I get it. I get it. He cannot fold. So his only options are call or shove. And maybe with shoving, the EV is still better than by calling, the EV is even worse. Because this is where it cannot fold to 3-bets. So we're forced him to make minus EV lines. That's the reason. If it was a normal sim where he could fold, then he wouldn't make those plays. So yeah, my bad. I made the sim. Just didn't realize. Yeah, normal, they have a folding range. Let me open up the 5 max. So it's totally comparable 5 max where we can fold to 3 bets, like normal 5 max sim. So here we have pot, fold, pot, fold, fold. So now it folds 31%. But still in the calling range, there are some hands that are more. Oh yeah, this is that. It's half a blinds. So it's not 1,000 of a blind, it's 1,000 of half a blind. So you can see here that the EV of a fold is minus 7,000. And in calling, we shouldn't have a hand that has more than minus 7,000, and we don't. Sort by EV. And the worst EV of, oh, there it is. But they are, it's so close, and they are all mixed strategies, probably for balancing purposes. But yeah, normally. So normal simulation was, I mean, we have here 3 simulations. This one is normal 5 max sim, where you have all the options pre-flop to pot, call, or fold. And then I run, we have a 5 max sim with normal opening ranges, but no one folds to 3-bet. So this is like closer to the reality in small stakes where people don't fold to 3-bets. So I created this sim without folding the 3-bets to see how that affects the 3-betting range when we know we don't have fold equity. And I have a video about that on the YouTube. And then when we made this Maniac video where the middle position opens 60%, or was it 70%? Yeah, it opens 70% or 68% of hands, then he would not fold to 3-bet. So this sim is based on the no fold to 3-bet sim. So it's the same sim, only exception is the middle position open 68.5. So then we can compare. Because it's important if you compare stuff, then as I said, we want to have one variable. Like here, let's close the normal sim. We have 2 simulations. Totally same, but there's one change. On the other sim, middle position opens wider. So then all the changes for the other players is because of the wide opening range. We know that's the cause. If we had 2 variables, let's say the middle position would be Maniac, and then we make the small blind a Maniac. And then we see how button reacts. We don't know what caused the reaction. The middle positions wider range, small blinds wider range, or some kind of combination of those. So it's harder to make any implications or get any results. Yeah, if someone opens a lot and then when 3-bet he thinks I'm screwed and starts to fold, I don't think you need a simulation to to beat that guy. Yeah, I think it's important if you want to see how something affects something, then you need to change only one thing at a time. Because if you have 2, it's always a question which one caused the thing. It's in marker, it's in whatever you do in life. If you want to see how something affects some other things, you have to change one thing at a time to get the results. Because otherwise you don't know. It's like it's like, let's say you're not making money in poker. For some reason you're losing. And then you say that, okay, I have to change my game. And then you go and change 3 things in your game. And then still you don't make money. You have no idea if one of those improvements improved your win rate, but the other one decreased it. You don't know. Of course, you can filter those situations, but you need a lot of sample size. So it's harder. So if you change 10 things and you start to lose more, then you go back to the previous, but you don't know which one of those. So it's easier to change one thing at a time and then see what happens. Because then if you get an outcome, you know what caused it. Instead of, okay, it's one of these 3. It's like a logical puzzle. I think the game is, when I was a kid, we had a game called Mastermind. And it was kind of game when we had this board and we have different color. There was 4 pieces and there was lots of different colors. And the one guy on the other side, he picked 4 cards, put 4 pieces on some kind of order, but it was covered. And the other player idea was to figure out what were the pieces and in what order. And it was like he put things on his board, and then the other one player like gave him points. Okay, 2 of those, or you have 3 of the colors are right ones and 2 of the pieces are in right places, or something like that. And then the other player had like 10 tries to figure out. So it's kind of same that in that game, if you start with certain pattern and then you change 2 things, you can confuse. You have to change 1 thing at a time to see the effect. Yeah, definitely. Even versus tighter range, if you have 4 equity, it 3-bets more, and that makes sense. If we have 4 equity for 3-betting, we can 3-bet slightly more. If we don't have 4 equity, we probably shouldn't 3-bet that more. So often it's easy. Let's go to extreme. What if we know that we have 100% 4 equity to 3-bet? Then we would 3-bet 100%. Of course. What if we know opponent 4-bets 100%? Then we just calculate on what range we have enough equity to stack off versus 100% range, and we 3-bet that. And when I figured out or compared these sims, 4 to 3-bet or no 4 to 3-bet, then the thing is that solver dropped those ace 6-5-4, ace 7-6-5 type of hands from the 3-bet range. Yeah, 3-bet almost everything. The problem is then if the other players know that we're 3-betting almost everything, then they can exploit us, and that could escalate quickly. And in solver simulations, the thing is every opponent knows every other opponent's range and strategy perfectly. So everyone knows what everyone else is doing, which is not the case in real life. All right. Oh, that's 1.5 hours. And I think we're done. Tomorrow, if you like money, then join tomorrow. You can win free money. Totally free. You don't have to do anything but show up. Or if you like fun streams, join tomorrow. We might have a fun. And we're going to run the home games or run it once. And last time we had only 3 participants. Where I've been playing, run it once, party poker, GG. Yeah, I tried to 3-bet ace 8-8 tomorrow. I tried to force myself to 3-bet and then let's see what happens. But yeah, in home games, it's on private run it once PLO 4 pool. And I think there's value. Last time they increased the splash pot to 51. So extra rate back. And my VPIP was 98 in the end, I think. Because I needed up, I folded some hands. So there's definitely value. Because people are playing super wide and super loose. And last time there was 3 participants. Or was it 4 in the end? 3 or 4 only. And now what we're going to do, we're going to raffle €50 worth of sit and go tickets among everyone who joins the home game. So all you have to do is play at least for a while with us, and you enter the giveaway, and you can win a lot of sit and go tickets. And if there's only 3 participants, then everyone wins sit and go tickets. Like 10, 15, 25. So huge value in joining the home games tomorrow. And even if there were 5 other participants, or we can have 1 full table, then the EV for everyone is €10 worth of sit and go tickets. So if you have a Run It Once account, there's a lot of EV in joining tomorrow and join the home games. And of course, along with that, there's going to be a raffle for totally free money based on my winnings on my sit and go session. You can win thousands. And then there's Run It Once Essential membership for a month. There's Poker Juice, free and discounted for a month. There's Christmas moves, and who knows what else we pick up. So lots of Christmas presents tomorrow. But please join the home games. It's not fun to play 3-handed for all the time. Full table would be better. So tomorrow at 7 p.m. CET, bring out your Christmas gear, bring out your Christmas drinks, and let's have a fun evening. And thanks for this. I will see you tomorrow. Have fun and let's enjoy the stream tomorrow.